that's still the same basic challenge that we have when it comes to AI. Our voices may be stolen, but you wouldn't even be on this odyssey right now had your recording engineer not made you aware, right?
And, I'm going to pause it for a second again, because that's exactly it. I mean, we can try to combat it, but how the hell do we know? We can't be everywhere at once. And you have AI that learns your voice in 3-second snippets.
I know how to combat it. More AI.
Oh, hello, my dear. It's been quite some time since you last came to see Auntie Wren. Come, sit. How was your journey? I know the roads can be troublesome these days. Oh, my dear, have no fear. You're safe now. The fire is lit, the roof is strong, and the walls will keep the dark out. And if you're willing to listen to a few old words of wisdom from an old soul, I'd like to share them with you as you walk this voice actor's path. When it comes to doing your auditions, your speed is right for you. You are beholden to nobody but yourself, so don't be too hard on yourself if you only get a few auditions out today. Go at your own pace, but make sure that you keep going. When auditioning for a video game, when you're doing attack or death sounds, keep 3 things in mind. How you're being hit or killed, how it's affecting the body, and what is the context of the situation. This will help make your performance nuanced, and we all know that's very important. Burnout is a real thing in this industry, so if you feel you're getting close to it, rest. There will always be roles waiting for you when you return. As actors, we need to take care of ourselves to perform our best. So rest and then return. If you're having a bad feeling about a project, or a director is asking you to do something that you're not comfortable doing, do not force yourself to do it. No VA work is worth you jeopardizing your mind, well-being, or safety over. Work with your director to see if a compromise can be reached, but if not, it is 100% okay to step away from a project. Bad directors will try to keep you by saying things like, "You're easily replaceable," or "You're the only useful person on the team, you can't leave." You are not replaceable. You are you. And there is only one you in the whole world. So, my dear, you have standards and boundaries, don't you? Stick to them. Oh, my dear. I think it's time for rest. These old bones aren't what they used to be. Oh? What's that? Oh, my old sword. My. I haven't used this old thing in quite a while. It was passed down to me by an old friend. I wonder what she'd think of me now. They say, if you look into the ruby on its pommel, you can see the fires she conjured to destroy Queen Maeve. All those many years ago. Oh, forgive my ramblings, my dear. I do tend to go on for a bit. Rest, child. The world will be waiting for you in the morning. I will stay up for a while. I have some friends to catch up with.
Aww.
Thought I'd be a bit homely this week.
I see that. I love the music too. Was this brought on by Aaron's interview last week, where we all said we're all sitting here like warm and cozy, like listening to Grandma?
I mean, yeah, kind of. That was the spark, but I've had this idea for a while. Just never had the sort of opportunity. Well, not necessarily opportunity. The sort of
how do I put this? Grimm wasn't around. I didn't have all of the things I could do to make, like my grandiose type thing. So I was like, what can I do that's very just sort of very me currently?
Mm-hmm.
This works. I started my Auntie Ren's daily tip type thing on Twitter, and I was like, I'm going to put this all together today. I can do this. This is fine. Add my flair for Foley in there as well. So it was just, yeah. And who knows? I sprinkled a little bit of lore personal to me, if that makes sense, in there. So it's not like lore technically story based from stuff that I've done, but if if people listen to that, they may know, based on the things that I like, who I'm referencing there.
Gotcha.
So we'll see.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Cold Read the Podcast. Whether you're here watching us while we're recording this in Twitch chat, because we do this live, noon, on twitch.tv/Zamoody. If you want to come join us, if you want to ask questions, or just even be part of the show itself, just come on in and join us. Otherwise, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for that. Don't forget to leave a like and give us a follow if you can. Or if you're watching us anywhere where you get your podcasts, thank you so much. We are 2 years in, we are 5 seasons out, and we are still just going as best as we can. If you have any questions, anything you want us to talk about, please feel free to email us, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, or join our Discord. Come on in for Fire and Brimstone's daily memes and stay for the conversations. They're growing, because I saw some Poppy posted one today, and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was a very, very interesting one. So come on in and join us. If you have any audio that you want somebody to listen to, but you're too afraid to put it out there, send it to us. We'd love to listen to it. We're very constructive. We're very good about giving feedback. We've done it to ourselves, and we've all improved because of it. Yeah. Well, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and check in with our co-hosts, with the wonderful, wonderful Renara. And how has your week been, Ren?
It's been very busy, very, very busy. I apologize for the lack of shorts. They literally slipped my mind, considering, right. So first couple of days was, I can't move. I feel awful. Okay, I need to just stay in bed and just kick this really quickly. Mm-hmm. And then I just sort of I took Eldurrino's advice and kind of went, okay, only do things that you can. So did that. Then Wednesday hit, and then I felt good enough to do stuff. So then I decided, right, I'm going to knock out the entire rest of the Knights of the Old Republic video.
Nice. Which
was like over a good sort of like 400, 500 lines I had, I think. I'm not good with maths. It was a lot. And I was like, I am finishing. I think the whole thing is that, but I'd only done, because they were split into sections. I didn't count how many. There were like 12, 13 sections of dialogue I had to do, and I'm doing the player character's voice because there's no voice for the player character because it's for a video. Yeah. So did that, and then I got basically I was like, okay, checking some auditions, like the ending dates for some of them. And I was like, okay, I got to do that today. So I did a couple of those. I then spent Thursday really like perfecting my Patreon. Yes, I have a Patreon, everyone.
What? No way.
That information.
Tell us.
Yeah. So there are like there's loads of different tiers. There are at the minute there's about 8 of them. I've got loads of things up for you guys, and I'm working on putting much more things on there. We'll have behind-the-scenes little snippet videos, photos with stories behind them, a lot of creative writings that will only ever appear on there, that will never be public. So if you want to read those and see where some of what this brain makes up, you can go see that as well. You'll get early access to all the chapters that I will be putting up of my audio dramas, and so much more. I am working so hard on making sure that I can just give loads of stuff to you guys. It'd be so fun. I'm really invested in that. So if you want to support me, go over to Patreon. It's Renara Hawke. and I spent Thursday setting up something else. It's something called, I think it's pronounced Ko-fi or spelled Ko-fi, which is if you want to buy a cup of tea for Renara just to keep her going, that would be also appreciated. But if you want to support me in what I do, that Patreon or Ko-fi is the best place to go. Thank you very much for in retrospect, thank you very much for anything and everything that gets given. I will be eternally grateful. And then Friday happened, and then I realized I had the intro to do. So I did all of that Friday morning.
Nice.
I wrote it, recorded it, edited it before 12 noon. Then I had other auditions I needed to knock out because the closing date I didn't realize was that day, so I was doing that. And then I finished because I got my Skywind stuff back for the Dunmer. I got that, and I basically knocked out the retakes and went, I'm not sitting on this anymore, this is going. And just decided I was going to get those done before I then had to leave because I went and stayed over Fire's place so that we could then go do archery on Saturday. So
I like that you're getting winded just telling us about this.
It's the memories of just having to do basically just how
I'm so exhausted. I'm exhausted listening to this.
And then I've got several other things in personal life that I'm getting ready for other things that are going on, and it's like I just had this switch go off of right. I have had enough. I've been in this situation for the longest time now, and I refuse to hide anymore. I refuse to be sat here feeling awful. Screw you. So I basically I've just been I've had that sort of buzz of I am going to be me. I'm going to be seen, and I'm not going to hide anymore. So yeah.
Good on
Awesome.
you. Awesome work. Well, thanks for being here, Renara.
Thank you.
Yeah. Eldurrino, how you doing?
Jesus. Hold
Coughing. Oh, nice cough button.
I love coughing and coffee and Ko-fi.
That's it.
Yes.
So I don't really know how to feel about this week overall, because truthfully, it was a lot of ups and a lot of downs. So you guys remember that? You guys remember that audiobook I was telling you about and all the lovely little issues that I've had with it? Well, I told the guy, you know, here's exactly how I feel about everything. I did not step away from the project as I originally intended, but I basically said, if you want me to continue working, pay me. Simply put.
Yeah.
Just because I know that my time is worth something to somebody.
Yep.
That and I've spent a lot of time building up my skills. So, they took that into consideration, but it does seem that they are trying to proceed with their audiobook without me. So, good luck on that.
There you go.
Wow, that's made me sound like an asshole. But
no, I mean, yeah, this is
you're entitled to feel how you feel.
It's not even that. You've already basically explained your situation, and it's just like I'm surprised you held out as long as you did.
It's wild. But in any case, so something very tragic happened on Friday. Unfortunately, Lance Reddick passed away at the early age of 60.
Okay.
Which
he did not look fucking 60. I'm sorry.
No, he did
no,
not.
No fucking
not
way.
at all.
No.
Like not even. I followed him on like Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, and he was posting videos of himself pretty regularly there. So there was no filters, no makeup, nothing. Still didn't look 60. Like he looked like he was in prime shape. Like he was posting videos of himself on the treadmill all the time.
Yeah.
And he seemed fine. But and then they claim, at least like tabloids and such, it's all that he passed from natural causes. Which I don't know how much I believe that. Go ahead.
The only one I can think of is the big C, and if it's not caught, That's the only thing I can think of. But there's 2 big C's now. But yeah,
Not
Sure.
the CO, but the original big C.
Yeah. So, I mean, either way, Lance Reddick is like one of my favorite actors, just because like I really appreciated his range. Like he could fit any character role, and even though like to the untrained ear or eye, you would see all of his performances as, I guess, fairly similar overall, but like no, there's a lot of things that he did differently in each role, and I always love little small details like that. So yeah, to hear about that completely shattered my heart, because shortly before hearing about this, I actually received a very, very big, like, good news announcement. Wow, I butchered that. So I have been wanting to apply for this audio engineering and production mentorship for a few months now. And it's basically a no-nonsense kind of curriculum. It is like, if you sign up for this program, if you get approved for this program and you sign up, we will make sure you become a record producing mixer. And if you don't, it's on us. And we will do whatever the hell we can to make sure you get to that point. You will be a working professional in the music industry.
Nice.
Period. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't really feel like my work was up to that standard just yet. However, I have been trying really hard for the past like 6-7 months or so to find something that just like clicks with me. And that program was it. This guy runs a YouTube channel called Hardcore Music Studio. And all of his lessons, like I subscribe to Skillshare, and I watched probably 6 hours worth of like a training thing teaching you how to mix and master and make music sound as good as it possibly can be. And I took that 6 hours and I learned a decent amount, I'd say. I learned more in one video from this guy that was 20 minutes long than I did in the other 6 hours.
Wow.
So I mean, the guy I was watching on Skillshare, obviously he knows his stuff. He's just not great at teaching, or at least it didn't really, I couldn't click with it. So in any case, Friday morning, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I know I don't have a portfolio, but I have all the files that I need ready. So if they ask, I can just send it to them. So I put in my application before I left work. 2 hours later, I got a response saying that based on what you submitted, it looks like you might only work with electronic instruments, whereas this program is more geared towards physical instruments and recording within a studio. So do you have any samples of that? Or do you work with physical instruments? And I said yes. I haven't had much opportunity to work with drums yet, but I'm a guitarist. I have been for 22 years now. Here's the other stuff that I have, right? And he was like, okay, perfect. And he asked me like a couple more questions. I answered him, and he's like, you sound like a perfect fit, man. Like, let's get you signed up. So, so I'm now in an audio production mentorship, which I'm very, very excited to do because I have been struggling for a very long time to figure out where my career should be. And initially, like when I was leaving high school, some 14 years ago, my initial goal was to be in the music industry and be a musician. And it's come full circle.
Yeah.
Now I get to actually do it. So, I'm super, super thrilled about that.
Well, I'm honestly happy that you're spending your time on this and not like an audio book that you were like focusing so much time on and they weren't appreciating you.
Well, again, I like doing that because it does give me the opportunity to, put all this stuff into play. I get to write music. I get to, practice the craft that I've been wanting to for a very long time. I want to make money off of it.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Like, I'm sorry, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I really feel like my skills are at the point where I should be making money off of it. So
I agree.
And the mentorship is only going to help speed that up even more. So hopefully within a maybe like a year or two, I will start putting together records. Hell, maybe even sooner than that. I don't know.
Well, good.
Excited.
Good. Very exciting. Let us know how it goes, and
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally curious. All right. Well,
how's your week this
thank you. I was
Moody?
wondering if anybody was. I was just going to move into it, but it's fine. It's funny because the time change last weekend totally messed me up.
So how was your week, Zamoody?
Yeah, thanks. It's like after I was done with the show and I uploaded everything, I literally went upstairs and I passed out for like 6 hours, and I don't know why.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, life has been busy. I've been playing computer tech support for the house for like 3 days in a row. My oldest computer decided to just not boot anymore. We went through that whole rigmarole. It's like days and days and days, and finally we figured out the USBs are overloaded and the computer just won't boot. So we got to replace the motherboard in order to fix it. And that was Friday. So between, taking 2 hours to get home because the commute has been terrible, and working as tech support, I have not had a chance. I will say what I did do is I started building my resume. So I found some old stuff. I found what's already up that I wasn't even aware was up, and I'm starting to collect all that. And then I'll go from there. One thing I don't like about one of the things that I found is they didn't clip out a pickup or two on like the last chapter of it. And I don't know if I should say something because I know the author of the book that they put up has been having some issues with like living situations and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know if you want to add on to it. But it's like I can hear the line twice and like my brain goes, ooh, I don't know if I want to list that. It's not my fault, but is that?
Yeah.
So it's
no, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, yeah, it's not your fault. There's nothing you can really do about it. You can say something, and I think it would still be beneficial to list it regardless, just because that's an engineer issue. That's not.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
not on
pretty
you.
sure they were pretty self-engineering at that point.
Yeah.
Because they've got
If you-
I've got 3 chapters of like a 25 chapter book. And then they did other people and you could hear like background noise and stuff. So, I mean, my stuff came out good enough for me to want to put it on my resume, but it's one of those situations.
Well, if you feel it represents your acting quality and things like if they'll look at, it's not your fault that they didn't cut that bit out. If you like the acting in it, put it forward.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's acting in a way when it comes to just like being an audiobook, because I mean, I'm not saying that the audiobook doesn't have narration, but I'm the narrator and there's other characters that jump in and do the characters themselves.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like a very neutral type of reading. Yeah. Well, and so I'm coming back. This weekend has been super busy because we are preparing for my wife to go to a retreat in Arizona. So she'll be taking a 6-hour drive on Monday, and then she'll come back Thursday night. So we got to head, and because she's got a car and she needed tires, and it's just been a whole thing. I got a washing machine delivered 2 hours ago. It's going.
Hey-o.
Yeah, it's been a busy.
saga.
It's been a very adult weekend, and it's been a very busy week. But hoping with Rose out, it gives me more pull to come down here and do stuff. Even though it's going to be raining for like 3 days.
And like I said, man, I mean, just stepping in that booth.
Yeah.
Just try recording anything and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just scream at the microphone for a bit and get your frustrations out.
Well, seriously, like even sometimes, like as silly as it may sound, I oftentimes just like I turn on the mic so I can hear myself in my headphones, and then I just start talking to myself, which. Yeah. It's not. I'm not trying to sound like I'm disturbed or something like that. But
no, we know you are.
Just getting your thoughts out of your head, and into the physical world.
Yeah.
Just doing that is somehow helpful.
Can I add to that?
Of course.
Just real quick.
Of course.
We used to do a thing which was how do I put that? We would do an audio diary, as in, like, I'd be sat in the booth. Well, at the time, I didn't have a booth. It was just me and a microphone, and just spoke into it of just like what's been going on. And you could do that. Literally, you could just.
And you're right. I absolutely could. Let me. I mean, I've already mentioned. Obviously, I'm having a big mental health crisis. I've been having a big mental health crisis in October. A lot of things happen all at once. A lot of personal information went back and forth, and unfortunately, it was to the point where I've started taking medications and everything else. But the thing isn't that I don't want to do it. It's difficult for me because I literally have to go so far around the house that my brain just doesn't want to do it, and I don't understand why.
And take small steps.
And it's stupid because it's okay. Yeah, I got to go down a flight of stairs. I got to go outside. It's no big fucking deal. But for some reason, it's a big roadblock for me. The other thing is, I mean, obviously, I've suffered from imposter syndrome. I'm not entirely sure if that is it here, but I do have a little bit of that. You're not going to get far. Why are you doing this type of situation going? Even though I've got some stuff under my belt already, it's still in the back of my head. And it just, shut the fuck up, Eldurrino.
Am I going to have to be aggressively positive with you?
Do it, Eldurrino.
No. And it's funny because the way that I've always worked is I don't do well with that kind of stuff. I don't do well with that positive. It puts me in a situation where I even more don't want to. And I don't know why. It's eventually I think I'm starting to come out of it. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. But it's difficult for me just to be able to pull myself away. I think Rose not being up there and me feeling like I need to keep her company is going to give me that drive to want to be down here. Because when I'm down here, it's literally just me. And this is still technically a very new studio. I've done very little recording down here without the road noise and everything. And I'm very excited about that. It's just, it's hard. And I don't understand why.
I have some ideas, but I will save them for after the show.
Sure.
Because it's a long discussion.
Yeah, I'm sure. What's up, Renara?
I was just going to give, because my brain went, I have advice and a proactive strategy that might help you in this situation. Because TA brain. Literally, just set small goals of, okay, rather than going, because I don't know how your house is laid out, but it sounds like you've got a long way to go to get down there. So go, right, I am going to stand up. First thing is, I'm just going to stand up. Achieve that. Next thing, I'm going to walk over to the door there. Achieve that. And break that journey down into small steps to the point of which it might end up being easier the further you go. And then you're then having small moments of achievement, which is going to release positive things in your brain, which then make it easier. Again, make it easier that the more you do, the easier it is to then work your way down. And literally it might be the case of, right, I'm feeling really rubbish now. I'm just going to take 3 steps and break it down to those basic things. And it's helped me in the past. It's helped many of my students who don't want to go to class. So I go, okay, can we just start by standing up in the room we're in?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, the other thing that you have to keep in mind is that I leave work at 3:45. I get home at about 6:30 sometimes. And that's only because of the commute that I have. When I get home, I now need to work on dinner because Rose is still having back issues. And then by the time I'm done with all that, it's like, Jesus, I just don't know if we always say it. You have to make time for this thing. And I know it's in there. I'm all very, very aware of the situation. It's just a difficult cycle to break.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you'll get there.
I will. I will eventually. Absolutely. Okay, that's enough of me boohooing with myself. So
no, it's fine.
Let's bring up Paul's video. We should be okay. I didn't take up too much time. All right. All right, Paul is up on the screen. Let's take those off. Okay, so let's hear this out because this was a very, very interesting one. Here we go. Oh, hold on. It's coming through to you all, but it's not coming through to our listeners, so.
Oh, no.
Stand by.
Okay, so just completely random filler. Do you guys remember a program called KidPix? It was a child-oriented artistry program.
Nope.
No?
Okay, so when you needed to like undo something, there was an undo button, but every time you did it, it would do a sound effect. And for some bizarre reason, this has stuck with me since my childhood. One of the sound effects goes, "Oh no!" and like for some bizarre reason, that's just in my head. So like sometimes when I like, I'm cooking and I drop food on the ground, I just say to myself, "Oh no!"
Okay, here we go. I think I got it. 3, 2, 1.
One of the scariest aspects of being a voice actor in modern times is AI, artificial intelligence, synthetic voice, and text-to-speech. Most of the discussion has been around the question of, well, what happens when AI steals our work? The scarier question to me is, what happens when AI steals your voice? Joining us from Dublin today is the Irish voice actor and author Remie Clarke with her story of how her voice was stolen directly by artificial intelligence and the difficulties she's had in pursuing the people that have taken her voice. Remie, thanks so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul.
Well, let's get into it. All of this, your entire odyssey down this road, and I don't want to give too much away now, all started with a phone call. Tell us what happened.
So a sound engineer who I've worked with for the majority of my career, which is going on 2 decades now, almost, gave me a call and said, look, I've got this business idea and it's kind of around AI and voice. And I wanted to know how it worked for you, working, creating an AI voice and, was it worth your while? And, was it financially viable for you? Did you get a lot of work? Did you get a lot of bookings? And I went, in what capacity? What are you talking about? And he said, well, I found you on this site called revoicer.com. And I just said, oh, hang on a second. What was that? Revoicer.com. I'd never heard of them.
So this was kind of unexpected because, as I understand, you've done AI voice work for Microsoft, right?
For Microsoft, yes.
But not for revoicer.com.
No, I'd never heard of them before. I didn't even know they existed.
Wow.
So, I asked him, are you sure it was me? And he said, I'm pretty sure. I've worked with you for nearly 2 decades. I know your voice. So I got him to send me the link and I went onto their page, which is, this big page full of information and different voices, and I eventually found the voice that he had said was my voice, and the name was Olivia, and the picture was a picture of a middle-aged Asian lady with long grey hair, but it was advertised as neutral Irish, I believe. Great for audiobooks.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it all worked really well together. So I clicked on it and I said, well, that's unmistakably my voice.
Hello, my dear ones. My name is Olivia. I have a soft and caring voice. I can record voiceovers for audiobooks, educational videos, and even make a soft sell. I recorded thousands of voiceovers for kids' videos, but I can do any other type of voiceover that you need.
Now, it's not a perfect likeness. It's been tampered with somewhat. It's maybe a little bit lower, and there's a lacking of clarity. It's robotic. It's a robotic voice.
What's your first thought?
My first thought was, what am I going to do about this? So I knew somebody who worked in copyright law, media law, and I contacted her and she gave me a little bit of advice about it and just said, it does sound like there's a problem. Definitely, but unfortunately, there are a few things in the way with things like this. First of all, you have to find out where they are. Secondly, you have to be aware that your voice is not a copyrightable asset. You can only claim performance theft or performance rights around something like voice work because it's not seen as creating something new. It's an interpretation or a performance of copy, written word. So there's that aspect to it. Even though in my view, I own my voice. It's my voice, it's my identity, it's my livelihood. Under European law, in any case, it's not mine. So there are lots of things that are thrown up here. Territories, copyright. Basically, the law, as it stands, doesn't seem to support artists and voice artists in the face of AI. And now I have to say, I'm not a lawyer,
Okay, I'm going to stop her for a second.
Mhm.
Anybody surprised, first off, to hear that your voice is not
Extremely.
yours?
Like, I know that the rise of AI stuff is still fairly new, especially, because it kind of just exploded out of nowhere. So I understand that there may not be like laws in place, but to say that your likeness is not copyrightable,
It sounds like how the whole thing with the photo of like the photos, they are owned by the person who took them, not by the person who's in the photo. There's the whole copyright thing with images, and it sounds very similar to that in regards of the law has taken that bit and applied it here, if that makes any sense.
well,
I'm not surprised. I'm upset that it is the way it is, but I'm not necessarily surprised because I can understand how the performance and the take on it's the thing of I can understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand, if that makes sense. And I hate it. I don't like it. This is scary. I hate this.
This is scary.
I find that really hard to believe, given that in the music industry, generally speaking, like when you record a song and whatnot, like, yeah, your name is on it, you wrote it and whatnot, but the copyright belongs to whoever's publishing your music, because they're going to be the person or the people receiving money, but there's still copyright on it. And in voice work, generally the publisher or the business is either yourself or a company that is representing you, or rather, you are representing the company.
You are, yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So either way, there is still some type of copyright in place, I would imagine. So for him to say that there isn't, like, you can't copyright a voice. I mean, yes, you can copyright a project that the voice was a part of.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess just by speaking it out, I come to the realization that, yeah, you may not be able to copyright a voice per se, but I feel like you should be able to copyright likeness, because, like,
I partially wonder if that's also to do with the fact of you can have people who, again, can sound exceedingly similar. So if you copyright one, they could get mistaked for the other, and there could be a whole issue there. But that's just me literally reaching at that point.
No, that's not reaching at all.
Is it not? Okay.
Look at the lawsuit with Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto 5 from Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. Okay.
She tried to sue them because one of the pictures was based around her likeness.
Yeah.
Overall, Rockstar won in that regard because there was no way of proving that it was meant to be her. However, like, the laws are still there, so what the heck?
I think it's just, it's upsetting to hear, but it's, again, I can understand why you can't necessarily copyright a voice, but you can copyright a performance and a take, because that is unique to that project and it kind of comes under that whole creative process. I think with music, there is a slight difference in the whole package, including the instrumental works and everything that kind of comes together, because it is multifaceted, I guess. But with
then what do you do with a cappella songs?
That is very difficult.
I'm just saying, like, overall, your entire likeness, including your voice, should be protected.
Agreed.
And I'm kind of surprised that this lawyer is saying that it's not. Like, only certain parts of your likeness are protected.
So there's been an explosion in AI content. especially on TikTok and YouTube, anything basically relating to shorts. One of the newest channels that I've run into is 4 ex-presidents and a president playing Call of Duty.
Yes.
And this is Donald Trump. This is our current President Biden. This is was it George Bush,
Obama,
and then Clinton every now and then.
Yes, yeah.
So they are using AI to recreate this scene of them going through and basically talking like they're playing Call of Duty. It's a hilarious thing. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's super funny.
I'm sorry, I can't get behind that.
Of course,
my immediate reaction is that's dangerous. That's so dangerous.
Yes.
But here you are grabbing 5 high-profile individuals.
Yeah.
And throwing it into this, and nobody can take it down. So this basically kind of reinforces what that lawyer is saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can't copyright their voices, and they even show their pictures, and they like Photoshop headsets on them and everything.
Don't forget the Mountain Dew Game Fuel and the Doritos. No, like I realize that too. Now that you bring that up, is like one of the things, albeit as as hilarious as it was, one of the things that I found right away was Obi-Wan talking about some very, very explicit things that happened during the Clone Wars with Anakin and Ahsoka, and it was just like,
oh my.
I'm not going to repeat it because it is extremely derogatory, but go check it out because it's really funny. But either way, like, it's scary that they can, like, the only thing that you would, or the only thing within that audio clip that would allow you to separate the AI from the real actor, Alex Guinness, is that there's no breathing. Otherwise, the entire thing sounds like him. Like, and it's incredibly hard to tell the difference between that and his actual performance.
And we know YouTube has blocked some of the AI stuff where it can't be monetized. But I mean, I think they're getting flooded with it so much, or people are just building the popularity behind it, that it's just like a typhoon, or it's an avalanche of stuff. And this is why we keep having to talk about it. We've been talking about AI now for a while.
Basically since the start of season 5.
Well, even before season 5, we brought this up.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it for a long time, and it's just now we're starting to see how this keeps going. All right. Any final notes before, because we do want to finish this video.
Yeah. I was just going to say.
I'll bring my bits at the end. I'll do mine at the end.
I was just going to say, I imagine it's going to take a while for any laws to be put in place, because that's exactly what happens with all tech. Anytime something new pops up that is threatening some type of group or person or whatnot, it always takes lawmakers forever to put laws into effect that would protect anybody.
Agreed.
I'm calling it now. Something really bad is going to happen, and that is what's going to be the clinch point of, we need to figure out some laws, and that's usually how it goes, and it's awful. That's how it goes.
And we're not even going down the deep fakes path, because that's a whole other thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Back to the video.
I have a very sort of loose grasp on what legalities are involved with this, but it definitely seems to me, from who I've spoken to already, that something needs to change.
Absolutely, something needs to change. So even before you start to delve into who is Revoicer, how did they steal my voice, how do I now pursue some sort of action against them, you're already being told, even before that happens, hey, the deck is kind of stacked against you, because, as my lawyer says, Ashley Brooks, she says famously that the law has not caught up with the technology, and it likely may never, because technology moves faster than the law. So you're already at a disadvantage.
I totally am, and there are many other things in the way, such as I don't even know where revoicer.com got my voice. They could have got it from any number of places. A lot of voiceovers do a lot of long copy. A lot of it's in the public domain in one way or another, whether you've done an audiobook or a video that's, embedded on a YouTube site or a website. Everyone can take audio from anywhere on the internet now, even with the most cursory technology. And then you just have to have
Sure.
a little bit more know-how to actually maybe create a new AI voice from that. So where they got it from, I don't know. Whether they had the right to do it, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the copyright ins and outs, but I need to find out.
So take us through from the moment you decided I need to take action against these people. Take us through that timeline. What has that looked like thus far?
So I asked for advice. I contacted another media lawyer who supported artists, and she suggested that I find out where they were. This I couldn't do. There was nowhere on the website that told me a business address. There was nowhere that suggested where they were even placed in terms of a country, because I think there's a website called Who Is that you can find out where a website is based, and that didn't give a direct answer either. It seemed to suggest California, and then other places say that it's based in India. So I said, well, the best way to try and find out what this is to go straight to them and ask them. So I sent an email, but I didn't say it was from me. I said I was a prospective client, and I needed the address for a grant. And they just said, we can't help you with that.
That was the entire reply.
Yeah. We can't help you with that. And then they said, we outsource our payments to another company. So immediately it was, not engaging. This has nothing to do with us. If you want any information about us, you're not getting it, whether you're a prospective client or not. So
they completely stonewall you at that point. So what's your next move?
My next move is finding out where they got my voice from. So that's a big thing. I need to find that out, and I need to find out whether I have any legal leg to stand on to go after them. And that's really important. That's the next step. So when I find time in between caring for my 10-month-old baby and trying to keep my career afloat, that's my next step in this story. It's a funny timing for something like this to happen, because it's really, is there ever a right time for something like this to happen? Probably not. But at the moment, especially not, because I have so many things to juggle, and and now there's this. So
and congratulations on the bright side on being I think a brand new mom. This is your first baby?
Yeah, this is my first baby.
Oh, this is fantastic. And tell me your baby's name.
Ronan. Which is an Irish name. It's an Irish name. Yeah, that means little seal.
Little seal. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks to Ronan for at least, being reserved
Quiet.
in his vocal expression today, right?
He's asleep. He's asleep.
Yeah. So you're a voice actor. I'm a voice actor. This channel is for voice actors.
Yeah.
How do we combat this sort of thing? Looking back, it seems to me, Remie, there's nothing you could do to prevent this from happening.
Tech, has a life of its own. And AI is a whole other beast. And for me, it kind of throws up a lot of questions, beyond the legality of it, and beyond, the recompense and all this kind of stuff around this website using my voice. What about humans and their desire and need to create? Humans and their worth in what they create and what they give and how they contribute to the world. So many people identify themselves through their work, and artists especially. Artists, paint pictures, they write songs, they write books, and they contribute to culture, they shape culture, and culture gives us meaning, and gives humanity meaning, and people meaning, and helps people through all sorts of times in their lives. So AI is taking that away. It's kind of saying, humans, what are you good for anymore? And that to me is the biggest issue here. And law also needs to catch up with the ethics of the day. So many laws that used to be active were repealed because they were no longer seen as ethical. And I think maybe there are a lot of laws around this issue that maybe don't think of the individual, the human, and they maybe support bigger companies, corporations, rather than the individual standing at the other end who might be made obsolete. And that's my issue here. That's what's really getting to me here.
I agree with you. And I think the other inherent issue, Remie, is that tech is global. Law is local, right? So the law in Ireland may catch up at some point, but that's not to say that the law in the U.S. may catch up at some point, right? Every voice actor around the world has to now be tasked with raising awareness, right? Not only to ourselves and to the people who may make the choice between an inhuman voice, AI, and a human voice, us, but also to the politicians that have the power to catch the law up to the technology. To me, that's one of the biggest challenges there is right now.
What I feel might help a little bit, making this more of an issue that there's awareness around for the voiceover community, maybe will help other people, to really be aware of where their voice might be, to be aware of sites like this, to be aware of the fact that, their voice might be being used without their knowledge.
I think even one of the more basic challenges we have certainly as non-union actors here in the States, we can't even really know if our voice is being used in unauthorized ways, right? We may book a TV commercial for 3 months. We have no real way of knowing whether that commercial only runs for 3 months.
I'm sure it's happened to you, and it's happened to me many a time where something has been rerun, and you have to kind of go back and say, okay, you didn't have the rights to rerun this, and then you have to organize a whole new contract,
Yep. And you can only do that if you're made aware. A friend hears it in a market they live in and you don't, or, whatever happens. And that's still the same basic challenge that we have when it comes to AI. Our voices may be stolen, but you wouldn't even be on this odyssey right now had your recording engineer not made you aware, right?
And, I'm going to pause it for a second again, because that's exactly it. I mean, we can try to combat it, but how the hell do we know? We can't be everywhere at once. And you have AI that learns your voice in 3-second snippets.
I know how to combat it. More AI.
God. I mean, this is all, everything she just said brings me back to, it was just a small little, I don't know if I've talked about it. It involves someone we've had on the show before. And he, being new to voice acting and everything, he just sent a thing to me as I don't know if it was a joke or anything, but the undertone was he was worried. And it was, again, this impacts people who do everything on YouTube and everything. But one of his fans took his voice from one of his videos and just plugged it into one of those websites that collects voices, and made an AI track and showed it to him for fun. He wouldn't have known about that if that random fan didn't show it to him. And then he showed it to me, and I just went, be really careful with this, because you don't know what's going to go, like what they're going to use it for, how it's going to go. And if you're new into voice acting, protect your voice, protect your moneymaker. And it's just, I'm angry, if you can't tell. I am angry that this is so prevalent and so Wild Westy, because there is no tangible way for us as individuals independently to safeguard ourselves. There really isn't at this point. And
there is. There is like some protection you can give yourself, such as setting up a limited liability company. Like here in the States, you can set that up based on whatever state you live in. Basically, so you say, I'm a business, I represent the business, and like, should something happen with whatever I'm providing, like you essentially have insurance. But what I was going to say is, I mean, Zamoody not long ago in his intro, he showed us how easy it is to get AI voices and use them. And albeit, it wasn't like 100% accurate to
No.
the
Those were
people
the
that
free
they're
ones.
emulating.
Keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the free ones. Imagine how much better they are if you start pumping out a little bit of money.
Yeah, and it's absolutely insane. And the thing that you have to be careful, because there are websites out there where it's like, well, provide us the voice, we'll give you an AI and da-da-da. You're giving them permission to use your voice.
Yeah.
They've created a model that is now for use for them. Your friend now has that model available in that other website because the fan did that in good spirit as you know, a fun thing, and not realizing that that company now owns that AI.
Yep.
And it's funny that you can own an AI, but you can't own your voice.
Which is stupid.
Okay.
You know, back when we started talking about this, and we discussed the program that Microsoft was working on that could learn a voice in 3 seconds.
Yep.
The people that developed that abide by an ethics code that basically says we're not going to use this maliciously. And then I said, doesn't mean everyone else is going to, and here we are today.
Exactly.
Because there was a thing that started circling on Twitter, which I've shared. It was just a small photo, but it's basically, I think it might have been Melissa Medina, actually, who started it. And it was that I do not give permission for anyone to take, like, to clip my voice, to sample my voice, or anything like. It was just like a set of rules that, or set of statements that voice actors have been circling. And I mean, like, I saw that and went, okay, that's probably a good, like, just immediate safeguarding thing. And I don't know. I'm worried,
By the way,
guys.
Paul, if you're watching this, sorry to leave you hanging the way that you are right now.
That's a great face. He's like, are you guys going to let me finish? What the hell is going on? Honestly, I'm sorry. I don't mean to like be super negative about that, but that whole like spiel about, you know, I don't give my permission, whatever, posting on your social media, literally pissing into.
You don't need it.
It's not going to do anything.
know.
It does absolutely nothing to safeguard you.
Yeah.
It help me feel at least a little better.
I know. I understand your point. I'm just letting you know the
No,
reality
I
of the
completely
situation.
understand that. Yeah, no, it's fine. I wish there was more we could do.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways,
and
proceed, Paul.
not too long ago, there was this whole thing about TikTok making an AI, and that person not even being aware that they were the AI person. And then finally, they replaced it with somebody who did go a little bit more. I think it was Johnson Voices who blew that up, and even he says, don't use my audio again for your commercials. But because the way TikTok is set, you can remix. And you can throw your stuff in, and it's legal.
Yep.
Why couldn't people be satisfied with stereotypical, really crappy text-to-speech programs? They were fun. AI is not fun.
No.
Yeah. Okay. 5 more minutes on this video. We should be able to at least finish this, and we'll have to touch back on in a couple of weeks. So here we go.
Yeah.
You talked about your advice for voice actors. What advice would you have for the other side of the glass, for the people making the decisions whether to use a human voice or an AI voice?
I mean, I think for a lot of small businesses, they look at this as an easy way out, an easy way to finish a project that they might not have the funds for, a full, a true voice artist. But I don't know how an AI voice will last the test of time, because AI and all of its artistic creations, quote unquote, are based on everything that's happened before. So everything, you can't create an AI voice without a human voice standing behind it. You can't create an AI piece of art without the work of many, many artists preceding that. So all these creations are based on the past. So there's nothing new being made. And I know they say there's nothing new under the sun and everything is kind of like a reworking of something in the past. But there's everything, what you're getting when you purchase an AI voice is something that has no spirit in it. That's what's so important to me about like human creativity, is that there's something inspired about it. Maybe even something slightly spiritual. In a lot of the greatest works of art, there's a sort of a spiritual nature, I believe. So when you go for AI over human, you're kind of missing that element out. And I think that's something that you can connect with or not in the case of AI. It's something that you would feel. So it's kind of like the feeling difference between AI and human. And I know they say all the new AI voices, they have emotion, but there's another element that's beyond, the kind of surface inflections of emotion. So you could be buying something that's an AI voice, but it's, where's the value in it? Where's the true value in it for your business or your product? So maybe people might consider, well, not only that aspect, but actually that there's a human on the other end who may be suffering because of the choice as well. So those two things are worth considering, I think.
Absolutely. Any final parting words before we go? Anything that you would like to say to voice actors that we haven't covered so far?
Keep working. Keep fighting the good fight. I honestly, I don't know. I think just keep showing up, as a lot of people have said about AI. And I mean, this is the first time that I've kind of really thought about AI and come into contact with it in this way, beyond, the work that I've done. Because, when you're recording a lot of jobs all the time, you record your script and then you sort of move on, you don't
Sure.
sit thinking about them for days and days and weeks on end. So keep showing up. And many people say that AI is something that has to happen and we kind of have to blow through it. And either it will take over completely or it won't. And I suppose my hope, because I'm definitely a glass half full kind of person, is that it won't, and that, human creativity and spirit is what will win out. And especially community, people getting together, talking about these issues, saying, okay, this is, good in some ways, but in other ways it's maybe really harmful. So trying to find new ways around things and trying to maybe work with AI in a way that it doesn't kind of eclipse so much good stuff that humans and voice artists have to offer.
The hopeful and lovely and talented Remie Michelle Clarke. Remie, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story from Dublin today.
Thanks so much, Paul. It's been a delight to talk to you.
And a delight to talk to you as well, Remie. We do have some resources available for you. These are just emerging from NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors. I'll put the link in the description and the show notes to their AI and synthetic voices resources page. You do not have to be a NAVA member to access that page. Again, the link is in the description and the show notes below. That page includes a template AI voice contract, a synthetic/AI voice writer, a glossary of terms, and more. Again, the link is in the description and show notes below. Also in the description and show notes below, I'll put a link to 3 different articles, one from Vice, one from Wired, and one from Kotaku. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. All 3 of those articles are around what's been going on very recently in our business with regard to companies not bothering to get our consent or stealing our voices outright, and the movement that is beginning to gather among us voice actors to try to get in front of this and educate ourselves. You need to be educated. I need to be educated. And hopefully providing these resources to you will help us all get educated on the growing threat, not really of the tool. The tool is fine. It's how the tool is being used and how disreputable people are trying to skirt our consent and use our voice without our consent and certainly without compensating us. So let's get educated. I'm deeply grateful for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you back here again next week. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you to Paul. Let me go ahead and pull
Thanks,
that.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Always interesting to. Okay, so let me. Relying on people to have a good conscience when it comes to money is impossible.
Absolutely.
That is not the way that this is going to resolve. Us thinking, well, they're they need to do the right thing and blah 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 blah. No, they're gonna make money. There's nothing we can do to stop that. I think YouTube has the right idea. I think YouTube stopping monetization for anybody who uses AI is the right way to go. There should probably be some sort of safeguards. I know there's like background noise out of our regular hearing that we can use, or that, computer uses to recognize stuff. For example, like you can't broadcast a PlayStation without turning off certain, stuff, which is basically heard in the sound. I think AI should carry that in order for it to be easily identifiable, because as it moves forward, this is going to get harder and harder to pick up on.
Oh yeah.
The more we can make it, okay, I agree with the fact that with how YouTube demonetizing, I think the more you can, I don't want to say penalize, but the more not necessarily roadblocks, the more inconvenient you can make it, because you're not going to stop people doing this.
No,
people are just going to do this. So the more inconvenient that it can be to use this, they're not going to want to use it anymore. So that might then help turn the tide of, are you willing to go through all of these inconveniences just to get maybe a slightly easier option? Or are you willing to have somebody put their heart and soul into this? Because I really liked Remie's just talking about how art kind of has a spiritual side to it, which I totally agree with. I genuinely do believe that they're, like, to a degree, you can feel that. And I perhaps also maybe further down the line, if people, not necessarily boycott, but if there is that lack of soul there, people might not want to engage with that art anymore. So that can be a hope thing. But the more inconvenient we can make it for them to use that, I think is our best option. I don't know.
Now the problem is, are we sitting here like the people that used to work on the conveyor belts, creating cars before machinery took over? Are we in the same position where it's just going to bowl us over and we don't know?
I think we'd go quietly.
Yeah.
As voice actors, I hope not.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's a fair comparison, just because, well, I guess it's really based on perspective. I don't necessarily see building a car as making a work of art, but I know to certain people it probably could be. So who knows? Maybe we're all just expendable. I'm going to take the nihilist route on this one.
Woo!
Oh,
All right. Well, with all that.
Well, what did I say in my intro today? You are not replaceable. You are unique. You are you. And
Unless
I'm
you're
going to stick by that.
Unless you signed an AI contract and submitted your voice.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We're going to leave that there. Paul, we're going to touch back, as we know we did a recent follow-up. Guys, if you have an opportunity, please go over to Paul Schmidt's YouTube page and give him a follow. Paul, I will say,
so smart.
I will say, did you get the interview idea from us? Because you need to, it's a new thing for you.
I thought that too.
I hope so.
I know, me too.
We're influencers, guys.
Hey, it's a start. We really need to have Paul back at some point, because he was a really interview. It was a fun interview and so entertaining. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, you can email us ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, or go ahead and visit our Discord. Link is in the description. Yes, I said that right. Come on in. Fire and Brimstone is in chat right now, the one and only daily meme person, which we absolutely adore. And then stay around, talk to us. We've helped people along the way. If you have any questions, we can direct them over. You can drop your audio in the audio place, or you can email it to us. We'd love to hear your audio. We've done an episode on it, and I look forward to doing that again, hopefully in the future. Yes.
One small thing to that. If you have any worries, or there's something that you want a second opinion on within the voice acting industry, or you just need to ask, hey, is this good or is this not? We can also give you some advice on that, or 2 cents or whatever. So
yeah, definitely 2 cents, or I don't know what the version of that is in pounds, but but yeah, for
2p?
sure. I don't know.
A penny for your thoughts.
Gotcha. Intro coming up next week is going to be Eldurrino.
Yeah, I will make time. I promise.
Well, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and sign off and say thank you again, everybody. Whether you're here, come on in, join us. If not, you're watching us on YouTube, we'd love that like and follow. And if you're just watching us anywhere where you do your podcast, leave a comment. We'd love to hear where this is all coming from. Don't forget, we have a Facebook group too. Yes, come on in and join. And again, it's still growing communities, and we are definitely trying to get that reach out. So come on in and join us on this wonderful journey.
We're all in this together, guys.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So until next time, ladies and gents, we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Remember to drink water.
There it is.